Welcome back, guys. We are back on the brown Corolla yet again. It's been a few weeks. I haven't given anybody a lot of notice of what's going on. I have been playing with a few things behind the scene, so I'll keep you updated with what's going on. But today's job is to make the inner tubs on this, right? To fill in these holes. So, how are we going to do it? Well, we're going to do it completely different to a normal tub. So a lot of people probably see my normal tubs. If you're not, go and make sure you check my Instagram. But I normally do a flat sheet on the top coming down like a curved one, and then one to the side, and then an inner wing to it. This one we're going to do completely different because I don't want to take up too much of the engine bay. So we're going to try it and do one piece here all the way to here. So it's going to be like a normal inner wing. It's going to follow the same contours front to back. So off camera, what we've been doing is repaired all this front end. This was rusty here, rusty there, that was all done. And we've been cleaning a few things up. The cup holders are now in, so they are done and they're all in. The other thing that's been bugging me, but I got done in the end, they've got this rear jacking point done, so that's nice. As you can see, it's not completely finished yet, but it tilts forward and it misses the rear panel, and it's actually higher than the rear panel. Rear panel's about here, so we've done that as well. And the other thing is, we now have calipers mounted on the back. So yes, it's been a bit of trickery, but we're getting there. The calipers were really tricky, just to keep, wanted a 4-pot caliper, solid disc to go underneath a 14-inch wheel. So we're doing that. The other thing we've been doing is playing around with fuel systems, planning out where the fuel line's going to be, so I can do a big order with Forge. And once we've got that somewhere buttoned up, and we've got some brackets and mounts coming, we can do some chassis mounts all the way along. And then we can get on to fitting the intercooler and the radiator and planning that out for them and going from there. But first things first, get these inner wings in, see what room we've got, and then we'll go from there. So the plan for this video is going to be these inner tubs. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to chop this section out just to create a bit more clearance here. So I'm going to take this further back. I'm going to take this seam out completely, and I'm going to come into here and do that. So that is going to be an English wheel part. So we've done it on a mate of mine's Escort. It worked out really trick. So shout out to J-Max. And yeah, so let's get cracking, get some templates in, and hopefully you can transfer it into sheet steel and put a nice pattern in. bit of shape into that now. Hopefully it's somewhere near the finished article. We'll put it back out again. I did try it in earlier, just to see if it would fit, but we had a little bit. It's looking pretty good so far. Let's get some more screws in it. See what that looks like. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. Bit of dressing to do. Got a bit of dressing to do down here to get that, because this was kind of 90 degrees to the car. So this is gonna have to come down because of the shape of this now. But yeah, I'm quite happy with that. Let's drill some holes in it here and there, and we'll get it welded in, and then we'll crack on with the other side. Right, so we've got the one all screwed in and it's completely ready to be welded. And I haven't bored you, but I've done the other one as well. So it's come out pretty good. And obviously it's got to be all finished off and welded yet. But it's coming into shape. I'll obviously flush weld it up there and flush weld it into there and get it somewhere near. And it gives us plenty of clearance. So got that done. That was a bit more of a mission than I wanted to, just because of all the spot welds on the previous inner wing. Just a bit of a sod to do, and just drilling out spot welds is, oh. Just, oh yeah, one of them jobs, horrible, but you got to do it. So, got them all done, quite happy with them. Looking quite symmetrical too, so quite happy with that. And this is also going to give us loads of inner wing clearance for boost pipes and stuff like that. Because I think I'm going to, I'm obviously having an intercooler like that, but I'm going to put 90-degree ends on the end. So, and because this is having, this Corolla of mine is actually going to have the quad headlights. I'm not going to use the inner ones like I did on the Celica, just because kind of like the look of the evil kind of look of it. So, yeah, we're going to cut into the front panel once we know about the intercooler design and go from there. I'm going to mock something up onto that intercooler and then draw something up for forge, hopefully. But we'll see if we got that for the time scale. If worst comes to worst, we'll fit that one. So yeah, quite chuffed for that. So let's get into the back of the inner rear arches now. Okay, it's another day and I've done a few things off camera. One of them being the front brake conversion, which we're going to go into now. The reason why I am not doing the back of the rear arches is because I didn't remember having to on my whole car and on the Celica, on the original Corolla and the Celica. So I thought, well, why have I got to do it now? And in truth, I haven't. I've got to do a bit of dressing, but I haven't got to make an inner arch. So that's good. So we've got to do a bit of shaping. But we're going to get these Wilwood calipers on the front of this today. Like I said, I've already cheated and done that side, so I do apologise. But now I know the process, we can show you how I've done it. So, if a lot of people, the Corolla guys, know that you can buy a Wilwood aftermarket brake kit for a Corolla for smaller than 13s or small 14-inch wheels, but they're really expensive, and the kits most of the time are out of stock. So this is going to be maybe a bit of a how-to if you want to do this in future, because the calipers are not expensive. Like, people think the Wilwood calipers are really expensive. They're really not. I can't remember how much these were, but they were less than 500 quid for the pair with the pads. So, and that's for vented discs and with a standard fitment. So what we're going to show you is the process of that now, and I've worked it out. And another bonus that I've been doing is I've made a 5mm spacer so the wheel isn't in a different postcode to the front. So you look down the side of the car, it's about the same width as the rear, within probably 10mm. I think you'll probably find the back of the bottom of the wheels out another 10mm. But we'll go from there. So let's get cracking on this and I'll show you the process. Right, so the first thing you need to know, this is a standard A86 front disc. So it's a small disc. And the other thing is you also need to make sure you mill or put this in the lathe and take a little bit off here to get the caliper to really get most of the pad surface over the disc. So the first things first, we're going to take this bracket off. This is also A86 bracket, and you can see that the base of this is completely flat. It's only these bits that have got the ears on. Now, you could possibly put that on the other side, and that'll be somewhere close, because this is not far away from the wheel caliper. But what we're going to do is we're going to cut these ears off. I'm going to call them ears. And I'm going to get us something on the plasma cutter, and it's going to be something I might be able to sell if anybody wants to do it. And we're welding it over these two holes, and it will come onto this side of the plate. So instead of it going that way, the caliper, the actual bracket's going to be coming this way. So I'll get a process of that doing, and we'll get the plasma cutter going. We'll cut one of them, and then I'll show you exactly what I'm going to do. letting me tack that together. Obviously I haven't drilled these 2 holes yet, and I've done it the same distance as the other side. So I'm just going to put this on. It's still warm. I'm going to put this on, and the reason why I've only tacked it on to start with is I want to make sure the caliper clears the hub. So that is the main reason for that to start with. So as in, what I mean is, because I've machined the hub down here, I want to make sure the caliper goes on enough. So we'll do that first. So that's on now. So we get the caliper and we get the pads in the caliper, and then we can get that in and mocked up and see if we've got clearance and everything's in the right place. Right, so we've got the caliper all ready now. Got 2 washers on the outside and 1 on the in, just to get the spacing right. That's according to the other side anyway. But it's got to be close so we can get the full, or as much as a pad onto the surface area of the disc. Alright, so that's bang in the middle, disc spins freely. And yes, so I can show you, look how close it is here. But it works. So now we've done the trial fit, we'll take this bracket back off, fully welded up. It might move a little bit with warping and stuff. And the other thing is, if you can see down the camera, we need to run a 5mm spacer for the SSR wheel to clear the caliper. So I've got to make up some spacers to go in there, which is the same outside diameter as that. And then that's that job done. And then we can go from there. So yeah, let's get them bits welded up. Well, that bracket welded up. Got this all done now. Obviously still a bit warm, so we've got this drilled out as well. So I've got went into my old Nissan parts box to see if we've got some bolts, which these are perfect. Alright, hub back on. Like that. whole front assembly together with a nice 3 disc. Obviously the pads are slightly overlapping the disc. You could probably get a bigger disc, which I will try and do some research on that. But anyway, I hope you liked this episode. I hope you've enjoyed and maybe learnt a bit more. And yeah, we're really cracking on with the car now. It's really coming on leaps and bounds. So we just got to get these last bits done and go from there. So in the next video, you probably see the rear panel will be fitted, and we might be even going back onto the floor and starting something really cool. So thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Hit the website for merchandise, and also keep an eye out, E36 owners. We are making a boot spoiler. It's coming out soon. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.